Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So, we are going to be talking about the presidential election, but by the latest poll. For example, if the election had to be was determined by the most recent poll, what would it look like? So, I'm kind of curious. We're going to go ahead and do this. We got our map up here. We have the RCP average according to Real Clear Politics. This is due to the majority of polls won. You'll see Trump has carried all the swing states. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, he's above 1 point. But we're going to take a look at elections based on the latest polls. This is not necessarily an opinion. I can't help if Pennsylvania has Biden winning in the latest poll. And I'm not saying that is the case, but just letting you guys all know. So let's begin. Let's just start with Maine. Let's see, Maine. District 1, the latest poll from Pan Atlantic says Biden wins by 8. That is a margin of basically, that's a likely said margin, and that's kind of unusual. We usually see Maine District 1 more light, dark blue that votes over 15 points. But I'm not saying this is according to the latest poll, so we're going to go ahead and call Maine at large lighter. So this is most likely not going to be realistic. Keep in mind, here's we're not at New Hampshire yet. We're going to take a look at Maine District 2. You'll see District 2 has Trump, according to the Pan Atlantic, Trump wins by 20. That is a solid win. A solid win for former President Trump in District 2 in Maine. But taking a look at Maine at large, you'll see, according to the Pan Atlantic poll, you'll see Trump wins by 6. That is over 5 points. So Trump wins Maine by a leaning margin. Now let's take a look at New Hampshire. You have just seen that Biden wins by 7 points. That's over, as you know, 5 points. So that is a leaning margin. Also, Biden leads by 5. Vermont, I don't think there's any polls, but we can say that is a solid blue. Let's see if there's a poll in Massachusetts. Biden wins by 30. We can call that a solid win in the state of Massachusetts. Rhode Island, Biden wins by 17. That is a solid win also. This poll from the WPRI, Roger Williams. We have Connecticut. You'll see we don't really have a call-in, so we're just going to call, let's see. Yes, we're just going to call it a solid, basically because, we don't really have, that's how it voted 4 years ago. We don't really have poll sources to explain that, but you'll see we have a Siena poll suggesting Biden wins by 10 in New York. That is a likely margin. Pennsylvania, we have Trump up by 1 point. We had tied. Fox News poll had Trump tied, bringing him down to 101, basically to 1. But the latest poll is from The Hill and Emerson, basically saying that Trump wins by 2. So that is a leaning margin in Pennsylvania. Taking a look at New Jersey, you'll see that Biden wins the state by 7. That is a leaning margin. We'll go ahead and call New Jersey by 7. Delaware. We have no polls from Delaware, but we'll just say, hey, it's Biden's state. It's probably going to be solid blue. Saying that his support there is kind of good, although it's swinging more right recently. Maryland is going for Biden by 23, so we'll go ahead and call that. DC, I believe, doesn't have any sort of poll, but we can double check. Nope, no sort of poll, but we can say that's going to be solid blue. Let's take a look at West Virginia. West Virginia goes to Trump by 36 points. That is a solid win. You'll see Biden has 88 electoral votes, Trump 26. You'll see, but Trump has won a key swing state. That's Pennsylvania. That is a good sign for him. Let's take a look at Virginia. You'll have Biden winning by 4. So we're going to go ahead and call Virginia a tilting Democrat. That's a good sign when it comes to popular vote. Trump wins North Carolina by 5. That is now a leaning. You'll see North Carolina by leaning. South Carolina, that's going to go for Trump by 14. That's going to be a likely win for Trump. Let's take a look at Georgia. Georgia has Trump winning by 3. You said, he was at 4 point. He has slivered down to 3.8. And I think that's worrisome. However, Biden is also going down. And that's mainly because I think that's because of the swing vote or the undecided getting in there. And when it comes to the polls, undecided is probably gaining momentum when it comes to that. So we're going to go have Georgia for Trump by 3. Trump wins Florida by 8. That is a leaning victory for Trump. 97 for Trump, 101 for Biden. And Alabama, you'll have Trump winning by a solid, as we should know, a solid win for Mr. Trump. Tennessee, 33 points. We'll give Tennessee a solid win. Donald Trump taking the lead over Biden. Kentucky, 29 points for Trump. Let's go ahead and take a look at Ohio. 10 points for President Trump. That is a likely victory along with South Carolina. Indiana, you'll see, that is from the Hill and Emerson poll, suggests Trump wins by 21 points in that state. So that's a solid win there. Let's take a look at the state of Michigan. Michigan's also key state here. You'll see, yes, Biden is going down in the latest poll. Trump gained 1 point, as you should see. So that is a leaning for Trump. Leaning poll for Trump. Let's take a look at Wisconsin. Trump wins by 2 points according to the Hill and Emerson. We're going to call that for Mr. Trump 178 electoral votes. Let's take a look at Illinois. Illinois is a blue state. Well, this is not good for Biden at all. This is 9. Biden wins by 9 points according to the Emerson poll. That is a leaning Democrat margin. You'll have Mississippi. We know that's going to go hard for Trump. Some people say, it's going to go like South Carolina and go likely. Well, according to recent trends, yes, 2023 was not the best year for conservatives in that state, although they won every single race. Governor's race, mainly because, let's see, the governor wasn't really that popular. But other than that, I think they like Trump in this said state. Biden's pretty unpopular. So we're going to go ahead and call Mississippi solid red. Looking at Louisiana is also going to be solid for sure. That's a state that we're conservative ticket has been surging in that said state. Arkansas, 33 points, 198. That is from the Emerson poll. Missouri, 17 points. That's just over 15. That's anything over 15 is considered a solid. So we're going to go ahead, move on to Iowa, another state that, 15. That's going to be a solid also. That's the Des Moines Register. That's a record poll. That's probably the best poll that Trump won in overall. This is polar data. Yes, we're going to go ahead and call Iowa a solid for the very first time. And that's interesting if Trump does win that state by solid. But yes, Biden wins Minnesota by 2. Minnesota goes to Biden by 2, 130 electoral votes. North Dakota, 37 points for North Dakota going for Trump. Let's take a look at South Dakota. Okay, something went wrong, but we can say that South Dakota is going to go pretty conservative, as that social conservatism is pretty, as you know, it's Trump country. Nebraska is also going to be a win. This is Nebraska at large, so we can confirm Nebraska at large to be going for Donald Trump. We need to take a look at, let's just take a look at Nebraska's 2nd congressional district. We're going to have that go for Biden by a leaning margin. Whoops. Nebraska's 2nd, leaning, because we don't really have a poll, unfortunately. We really should. But where's okay, this is Nebraska. Where's Nebraska's 2nd and 1st? I don't think they have that. We're just going to call it a solid. Or I think it was a leaning for the 1st district. Well, I don't know. We're just going to call it red. That's all we're going to do. Kansas. Whoops. Kansas is another state that could pull a South Dakota, but according to the recent Emerson poll, we have Kansas going to Trump by 16. That's a solid margin. So that is pretty good. Oklahoma. Emerson says Oklahoma goes to Trump by 28. We're going to go ahead and give Oklahoma to Trump by 28. Texas is going to go for Trump by 8 points. That's a leaning margin, better than his 2020 performance. New Mexico goes for Biden by 8, according to the PPP poll. We're going to go ahead and call it New Mexico for Biden by 8. We have Colorado. Recent poll says, the Emerson poll says Colorado goes to Biden by 6. We're going to go ahead and call that a leaning for once. That goes down. To be honest, I expect Colorado to go solid blue, but that's not what the poll is saying. Wyoming, 53. That's for the Emerson poll. We're going to go ahead and call Wyoming Trump country for sure. Montana is 21 points for Donald Trump. We're going to go ahead and call Montana 21 points. Idaho, 29 points. Trump has already reached 270. He has declared the winner according to the most recent poll. Idaho, solid victory. Utah, 10. Now, this is going to be a likely, and I'm not surprised because Utah has been neocon country. This is Mitt Romney's state. This is where social conservatism's pretty weak. Utah is pretty neocon. They're concerned more about fiscal than social policy. Yeah, and they're kind of lukewarm conservative. So obviously, we're going to give Utah a likely. Arizona. Trump by 24. No, not 24. 4. 4 for Trump. That is a leaning. That's a tilting, excuse me. Let's take a look at California. In the state of California, most recent poll says Biden wins by 23. The most recent solid victory for Biden since Maryland, believe it or not. Let's take a look at Nevada. Nevada has Trump by 1. You'll see a lot of polls are having Trump going down. Well, same thing with Biden. That is because of the undecided votes. The undecided votes, doesn't have it, but they are supposedly going up, as there is more confusion on whether who or what to vote for in 2024. So that is also going to be a I would say, is tilting Republican. In Oregon, we have Biden by 16. That is a solid win. In Washington, Biden by 10. Believe it or not, that is a likely. For once, they're saying Oregon go solid and Washington go likely. Interesting. And then before we end, we have Alaska. Alaska goes for Trump by 12. That is a likely. And then you have Hawaii. No reliable poll in Hawaii, so we're just going to call it. We're just calling it solid. But there you go. There you got it. We have the recent polls. According to the most recent polls, as you know, presidential election according to the most recent polls. What do you guys think about our prediction? Let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.